How you doing? Welcome to another video. Today, I'm going to talk about 5 changes that you can expect after stopping drinking alcohol for more than 1 month. This is, again, I'm trying to sort of take a look back on some of the things that I experienced in that first month or the first few months after I stopped drinking alcohol. And I think this is just a useful way of, trying to get as many people to continue on this journey as they can, because a lot of people, they can't get past that first few weeks or the first couple of months. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an insight into what to expect. Good expectation is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to give you an idea that it's not all shit, that you're not going to get the pink alcohol syndrome or whatever the fuck they call it. You're going to go where your mind sends you, really. And you can be your own best friend in this journey, or you can be your own worst enemy. And everything that happens is going to happen within your head, right? And it's how you, there's certain things that will happen in your life. Like I said in the last video, there are certain things that will happen in reality in the journey that will kick you in the arse, that will make you think twice about what you're doing. But that's why a lot of people don't do these things in life. This is why a lot of people don't lead successful lives, is because they either haven't got the commitment to themselves, or they don't have the tools to set them past those areas, right? They don't know how to respond, and it's how you respond to things that really matters, and also the commitment that you've got to yourself above all. So the first thing that 30 days gives you, once you get past that 30-day mark, is it gives you a certain amount of continuity, right? So you've got 7 days, you've got 4 full weeks, which comprise of 7 days. You've got 5 working days and 2 weekends, which means that you're going through a variety of different experiences. I drank most of the days, especially towards the end, at least 1 drink or 2 drinks. And most weekends I drank quite a bit. So I drink more at the weekends than I would during the week. And just getting through that first month gives you experience. And that's the most prized thing that you can have in this journey, is experience, right? It's the most prized thing that you can have for yourself, is experience, because nobody else is going to go through your journey. Nobody else is going to go through your life. First of all, your experience is incongruent with what you believed that was going to happen. So, you might have been telling yourself, well, this is going to be bad. I'm going to get all these cravings. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And it's just not happened that way. Or your experience is going to reinforce what you already believe, right? And if you've gone through any of our courses, so you've watched any of the stuff that we've talked about before in terms of good preparation, and you've stepped across that line with the good mental mindsets that you can have, right, with good preparation, then you can get to the stage where all of these things are easy, because you're mentally charged for it, you're mentally ready for it, and you're mentally ready to move forwards. So, like I said, experience is the most prized asset that you can have at 30 days. It gives you self-confidence, it gives you self-belief, and it only works if you, like I said, began with the intention of abandoning alcohol, right? So if you've started off with this journey and your intention is to go back to alcohol after 30 days, that's not going to work for you. The experience is not going to work for you, because all the way through that 30 days, you've been telling yourself a different story. So like I said, the narrative that you tell at the beginning of this story, this whole journey, is going to carry you through, right? The second thing that I want to talk about is called the dopamine pull. I've been reading a lot about dopamine lately. We're in the process of creating a new course over on Habits V2. And this is going to be a huge part of it. And one of the things about dopamine is that when you're crossing off those days on the calendar, it gives you this dopamine release. And the dopamine is that feel-good factor. It's actually the anticipation. That's what it should be called, the anticipation chemical, or the anticipation neurotransmitter. And what it does is, it's something that pulls you into the next day. So, you cross off one day, it pulls you into the next day, and you want to complete that that set of crosses on top of your, on your calendar, whatever it is that you're filling out. I've got this big thing now where if I'm doing a diet or I'm doing any of these things, if I'm doing a monthly challenge, I'll put a calendar on my wall and a big red X goes on every day. And it's one way of visually giving yourself a little dopamine hit, and it gives you a little anticipation hit. So one of the effects of dopamine is repetition of the act causes this initial dopamine release, and that gives you the motivation for the next day and to continue that line of exercise. Gives you that anticipation, but it's just moving forwards, and like I said, having that experience, having the expectation, having the anticipation that you're getting every day of marking those X's. It can be something small, I mean, what we're trying to do is we're trying to replace the alcohol, the anticipation for the alcohol that we used to have, with something simple like this, right? You're heading in the right direction, and it's never going to be a replacement, but it's a move forwards. And that's what we're basically trying to do, is to give you that, make sure that you have the anticipation throughout this journey. Now, if you haven't done our free course yet, we were talking earlier on about good preparation. There's a link down below. The preparation course is the quick start guide to preparation. Now, it prepares you really to start off on this journey, to step across that line and to step into day one. But you can use this for stepping into day 31, day 61, day 91, whichever. And it's useful for preparing yourself for almost anything. So if you haven't done that already, click on the link down below and you'll find that there. The third part of this that you'll find after 30 days is that your sleep should be much better. This is something that I found, and it's a gradual improvement. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It takes a while. Some people, they find as soon as they stop drinking alcohol that they get good sleep. But I'm talking about on a deep level, that the alcohol itself prevents you from getting into that REM sleep that you need. It's that deep restorative sleep that really helps you to reset yourself for the next day, to recharge your batteries, but to have that mental reset as well, because your mind goes into that really deep sleep and the dreams, and your eyes are flickering backwards and forwards. That's the outside effects, but it really helps you to restore yourself. Like I say, I think the sleep improves from day one, although, you might not feel it from day one, but gradually it gets better and better and better over time. When you put alcohol inside your body only sees it as a red alert mode, and how can you get proper sleep when your body is going through such a toxic overload, and it's trying to get rid of that? So think about that from that perspective, and you'll understand why you don't get good sleep. So after a month, your body should have, there'll be no more alcohol there, and your body should have settled into a really good sleep. That's my experience anyway. And, it's really the experience of a lot of people that, the dreams will come back, you'll feel much better the day after. Number 4 is improved cognition. The brain is the tool that distinguishes us from any other animal, and it's why we're so successful on the planet, right? Alcohol dulls your brain. It affects all your cognition, affects your judgment, your decisions, your choices. It affects everything else that you do because of that as well. So within 30 days, you should see this sharpening of your brain, which means that you're going to get better cognition, better judgment, better decisions, better choices. And that has a positive snowballing effect on the rest of your life. I mean, it's the biggest thing that I've noticed, just that clarity that comes over you all of a sudden, and it's usually within the first 30 days that you start to get this. I mean, again, like the sleep, you'll find this happening slowly at first as your brain starts to unfog itself, but then quicker and quicker and quicker. And it's because of that, like I said, this snowballing effect is that you're able to make small decisions better. The choices that you're able to think through your choices better, and then make better decisions based upon those, your more thought out choices. So your judgment becomes clearer and your overall cognition, and that just has a cumulative effect down the road. Better decisions create better decisions and better decisions. So the next thing is improved clarity, right? Which, like I said, this is my favorite one. Alcohol definitely restricts what you can see in the world. It affects your perception about things. I'm not just talking about what you're seeing through your eyes, but how you're perceiving things, right? And with your new improved brain, with your new improved cognition, your perception increases. Like I said, you can see the choices clearer. You can see more choices. More choices is definitely not a good thing in and of itself. But if you can see better choices, if you can see past the moment and past that instant gratification mindset, and you can put yourself into a position where you're able to think 4 weeks down the road, or 6 months down the road, or a year down the road, or 5 years down the road, then your perception and your perspective increases. We call this laddering up process. So think about being at the bottom of a ladder when you start out this whole journey. And gradually, as you move through it, you're climbing slowly but surely up that ladder. And the further up the ladder you go, the wider your perspective gets on yourself and your own life, on your own choices and your own decisions, but also on your own possibilities and your own potentials. That's the most important thing. As I said, one of my best ways of judging how far I've come myself is through my own expectations and how those expectations are rising. The expectations I have of myself. And, when you get increased perspective, it certainly does increase not only your potential, but it widens your potential. If you think about as a drinker, you're in a certain place because you're drinking. Your potential is restricted because you're drinking. So take that one thing out of that, and your potential widens automatically. But with all the thinking that the possibilities that you can now do, like I said, you make better decisions, which lead to better decisions, which lead to better decisions. It's a knock-on effect, and that in itself increases your potential. So, like I said, if you haven't taken the quick start guide, that's below. Just as a final thing before we shut this down, the first 30 days for me is just super important for getting your feet under the table of your new life. You need to have patience. You need to try and see outside of where you are to where you want to be as much as you can, right? And keep focused on a goal that you want to achieve instead of where you've come from. And just to keep plodding on, So we're almost to the end of these daily videos. And if you want to continue to get the daily videos, you can visit us on the Habit V2 link. Go across to our platform. With a lot of help there with daily videos, sometimes twice a day in the early stages of the journey. And the next video that you're going to see is the biggest mistake I made, and that's up here. The biggest mistake I made when I quit drinking alcohol, and it's not what you think. So listen, take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.